All right, guys, happy Wednesday, May 8th, coming to you a little bit stuffed up because of these allergies, but nonetheless, I am grateful. So if you have a child that is playing sports, I'm sure that this will resonate with you. And if you don't have children yet, one day you may, and this may land for you. So my son is playing baseball. Now, this is his second year. He's doing actually coach pitch this year. And, he's learning how to be competitive, how to show up, to not just play with the dirt, to actually swing the bat, to run the bases. And so all season long, my son hasn't gotten a hit. And he doesn't really care. He's just really not that into it. And so I'm the dad. Let's go, son. Let's go. You got this. Swing, put elbow up, bend your legs. I'm there every single game. And I just want to share with you, Silas got a hit last week and he was able to run all of the bases. He was able to score at home and at home he slid into home. And it was just the coolest thing. And at the end of each game, the coach says, who do you think gets the winning ball? And when he said that, so many of the kids said Silas, and he got the ball, then he kissed the ball, and he got to go to Target to get himself a gift. And so it was just really, really cool to see. I thought I'd share that with you to bring some smiles and bring some good cheer to the meeting today. And so for the parents that are struggling with their kids, finding that competitive groove or finding that they actually like soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever it is, just stay with them, right? Because 2 days before that, my wife's like, I don't like this. I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, then, babe, we got to give it patience. I'll be out here. I don't care. She's like, well, he's just not into it. And now I think he'll be a little bit. I hear you, Dominique. I hear you. So it was just a powerful moment for me as a father. So let's get right into the session for today. I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field in true keep it moving fashion. And I'm going to go over to she don't kick the ball. That's how Kai was. Oh my gosh, she drove me up the wall. Jessica Segura Hernandez. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have you bring us out on the field. And the reason why I'm calling on you is because you don't truly enjoy doing this. And so I'm going to do this with you. I'm going to be here for support, but I need to hear from you. Bring the team out on the field for this beautiful Wednesday morning. Let's go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Just remember to stay focused and keep going. I know for me, things have slowed down a bit, and there are days when I question myself, but you just got to remind yourself to keep on going, keep generating leads, go door knocking, host open houses, and yeah, you'll be okay. Just keep going.
Ooh. I love that. You absolutely will. Sometimes you won't see the fruits of your labor. You have to do tons of work and then you actually see it down the road. But I'll tell you what, when you talk about next level preparation and really being ready to have the conversation with consumers, probably next week, I'm going to have Jessica share some of the things that she's done behind the scenes with Blessing to really create a cadence for her buyers and her potential buyers that is absolutely next level. When we're talking about proving our value and really showcasing what we do for consumers, absolutely next level. So Jessica, give yourself all the glory and also give yourself the grace for the things that you have done and the things that you are working on behind the scenes. And so I want to share some thoughts with you. Before I get there, I want to ask you guys all a question. How many of you ever get nervous before you do any type of presentation? How many of you get nervous? Please raise your hand if you feel a little bit nervous at times, right? How many of you, if you know you're going to have to public speak in front of, I don't care how many people it is, you find yourself getting a little bit nervous? Is that you? Does that land for people on this call? Okay, cool. I see a lot of hands going up. And here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my hand, right? Throughout my career, I have done countless amounts of presentations. I have logged thousands of hours of coaching one-on-one as well as in group settings. And before every single presentation, before every single meeting, I still get super nervous. I get nervous. But you have to allow that nervousness to fuel that presentation, to say, you know what, if I'm nervous, that means that I'm humble and that means that I'm human. So embrace that and say, you know what, how can I take this nervousness and say, what can I do with this conversation, with this presentation, with this, whatever it is that you're doing consumer facing to make it even better, right? How can I connect on a deeper level? How can I slow down? How can I make sure to ask questions that are really going to resonate and get to the core of what their motivation is? And so you guys do it scared and do it anyways. And when we're on these calls, when I ask for people to participate, to throw your hands up, if there's something that you say, oh my God, I don't know if I have the right answer, but I'm just going to throw my hand up in there, do it anyways. Do it anyways and do it scared. Because here's the thing. I believe this. I believe over the last couple weeks, I think I've been a little easy on you and I want to apologize. What I mean by that is that when we come together, particularly on Wednesdays, this is the opportunity for us to share as a group about the market. Now, what I've been doing is I've been leaning to some of our lender partners and I want to hear from them. Don't get it twisted. I want to hear from them as well. But more importantly, I want to hear from you guys. And what I mean by that is that somebody wrote me a message the other day. They said, one thing that they really love about Wednesday sessions is that it's a popcorn session. And I didn't really understand what that meant. Well, I continue to read on. She's like, we sit here and it's like we're eating popcorn and watching someone do an amazing performance. So the things that you have talked about on these calls, the updates that you have given about the market, the conditions, the patterns, the nuances, and what you're seeing are giving inspiration to other people on these calls and the people that are viewing it post-call that maybe were not able to be here live. Because I want to share this with you guys. Each of us have the same resources, we have the same tools, we have access to the same publications, the same articles, we have the same accounts to follow on social media. So what we're doing is we're all have access to this information about the market, about the conditions, about year-over-year trends. Each of us have that information. Well, it is now our responsibility to say, how am I articulating that? Because if a consumer asks you, I promise you, you're not going to be like, I don't know, Mr. Johnson, I'll figure that out for you. I'm sure you'll have something. So what I want to do today is I want to go back to some of this popcorn style presentations, meaning you guys are out showing houses. If you're showing houses, you're probably looking at the other houses in the market. You're probably looking at days on the market. You're looking at what's sold, what's pending, and you're really evaluating the market. So I think that you guys, as the foot soldiers, probably have even more information than I have. I just have to compile it in a way that I can speak about it in large group settings such as this. So I want to encourage you guys to get involved in this conversation today. What I want to ask you is a very, very simple question. Tell me about the market. Now you choose whether it's San Francisco, Bay Area, or excuse me, East Bay, Sacramento, Central Valley, wherever you are. I want you to tell me what you are seeing, what you're experiencing as if you were talking directly to a consumer. And that is the challenge for the morning. And listen, I want my lender partners to go last. You guys always come with the fire. So here's an example. Say Jessica, and I'm not throwing you in the mix, Jessica. Say Jessica is going to throw her hand up. Feel free to share your screen, share any screen grabs that you have from articles, share any of the resources, tools, charts, graphs, anything that you would actually share to get that information or to convey that information. So my question to you guys is, how's the market? I need 5 people to step up and tell me about the market. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to listen to how they articulate the information about what's actually happening in the market. So we have some guests here on the line today. Let's show them how we move and keep it moving, how we show up, how we represent ourselves. So I'm going to give you guys a second to think about that. And I'm not going to go forward until I get some hands up that are going to share with us the conditions of the market right now. So don't leave me hanging. I need 5 hands to go up right now. There's 1. And I'm not going to go on until someone else gets in. There's 2, there's 3. I need 2 more. You guys, if you're not willing to step up right now, then you might as well just not even be on group coaching. I need 2 more. There's 1 more. I need 1 more. There we go. All right, let's cruise. All right, Damian Bledsoe, you are up first. Then Kelly, you are on deck. So Damian, I'm asking you that question, my man. Tell me about the market. What's going on conditions? You could choose anywhere, wherever you've been showing homes. You come correct, bro. Tell us how you would convey this information to a consumer. Let's go. And let's give him some love and some praise for stepping up and being the first person to go. So let's go, D Bledsoe.
Good morning. Good morning. No, I just wanted to talk about the influx of buyers in the condo market that I've been seeing between Alameda and San Francisco. So not just one place, Alameda, Oakland, San Francisco. I've been having a lot more conversations surrounding condos than usual, it seems like. And I know that it is correlated to competition. It's a lot more competitive in the single family home market and not so much with condos. And so I think people are recognizing that. And even with HOAs being what I consider to be crazy, people are still considering condo purchases because I think it's less expensive and easier in terms of competition. So yeah, that's just the what I've been noticing here lately in the past couple of weeks. And additionally, I just wanted to touch on the performance anxiety that people get. I get it. I'm a performer as well as a realtor, and whether it's showing a house or getting on stage, I get nervous every time. But I think, like you said, it's just because you want to deliver a solid performance or a solid buyer's presentation, whatever it is, you just want to do your best. So that anxiety isn't a bad thing unless you let it paralyze you. So yeah, take it as a sign that you care about the work that you're doing.
Yeah, God, I absolutely love this. And two things here. So when you're looking at the condo market, particularly in San Francisco, I saw an article last week that stated that clients can get what they are saying pre-pandemic deals in San Francisco on some of these condos. And when you think about that, it's an opportunity for you at least just show a consumer, even if they're not into it, at least just throw it into the mix. Like, hey, I know you said you didn't want a single family home, but here's an opportunity for us. And we might have a really, really good chance to negotiate and get this for well under asking price. So to me, and I love that. And second part of this, you guys, when you're nervous about public speaking, and this is a form of public speaking, when you're nervous about doing a presentation, you have to be able to get centered and say that this nervousness is not about me. It's not about me wanting to do a great presentation. It's always about them. How can they receive this information in a way that they truly, truly connect with the information? And so that anxiety and that fear and that trepidation and that worry and that stress should come from you saying, how is this going to be the best for them? And if you live there and if you exist there, then you remain humble and you remain human. When you remain humble and you remain human, despite the nervousness, that's when you can perform a very great presentation, because every single person that delivers a presentation, whether in front of 5 people or 5,000 people, behind that curtain, before that curtain goes up, we're nervous. I've been nervous. I'm nervous every single day. But I'm nervous for you guys. I'm nervous for you guys. And so, Damian, I appreciate that coming from a performer who's done countless amounts of presentations and performances. Great stuff. We're going to go to Kelly. Kelly, you're on deck. Otis, you'll be after Kelly, and then Samantha, and then I'll get through all the hands. So let's go, Kelly. Kelly, I don't care where you are, what market you share with me, high-level market update. Let's go.
Hi. So as I'm learning that the investment market in Oakland and the surrounding areas are extremely hard. You know, many offers are going in, and many people want those properties. So that's what I'm learning at the moment.
All right, cool. And so when you're working with an investor, what are the types of conversations that you're having with them? Or better so, what are the type of questions they're asking you? And have you found it challenging at all trying to answer these style of questions? Because working with investors is a whole different animal.
I really like it. I've had some experience with a little bit of things now, and investments is really fun. Some of the questions that they'll ask me could be the type of loan that they need to acquire the property. Also, how competitive, they'll ask me how competitive is it? And it is very competitive. There could be many offers on a very rundown property, but because the price is so low, the equity in the property you make money on it if you put money into it. And so those are some questions I'm getting is how much money will they have to put into the home to, and that's a lot of money sometimes, and I still need to learn a lot of that. So but
Absolutely.
the questions are on the loans, the questions are on the time frame, also fixing it up, the price point on that. And
Totally.
they'll also sometimes they'll try to get a deal on the already cheap property, and if they try to put in a lower offer, it's gonna get beat by people that are wanting the property and putting in more for it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. As an investor, you're always looking at ROI, right? If I can purchase this home that's listed for, let's say, 400,000, if I can, find a way to negotiate it at $300,000 cash, close in 7 days, put 70 G's into it, and then put it back on the market and sell it for 450. Now, what I've done is I've given myself an ROI that maybe took 3 to 6 months. Like, they need to have that cash that's constantly being able to be recycled and be recycled and be recycled. So I'm glad that you're doing that and working with investors. It's a very challenging experience when you're starting out, but once you get into a groove, There's tons of people on our team that have great experience working with investors. Julie being one of them, the numbers agent. She's built all kinds of charts and graphs and stats and figures. So please lean to her if you do have questions. But Kelly, really, really great stuff. So Otis, going back over to you, big dog, and then Samantha Benz, you will be on deck. So Otis, tell us, my man. And by the way, I want to pause for a second. I want to congratulate Jacob and Otis. Jacob Ali has been working his ass off behind the scenes, just got into contract yesterday, saw the social media post. So my man, congratulations to you, partnered up with Otis. So you guys are in the thick of things right now. So Otis, let's hear about it, man. Tell us about the market, high level conversation if you were talking to a consumer right now based on what you're experiencing. Let's go.
Awesome, Elias. Thank you for your time. First of all, the markets that I serve currently right now, a lot is all of Contra Costa, specifically San Pablo all the way up to Rodeo. Tons of action over there the last 6 months. I mean, like, I believe probably 6 of my deals minus like 5 deals have been specifically in those areas. So I can honestly say that I'm an area expert right here in these predominant areas. And all these areas are going to take someone who has the either experience or some of the skill set. And I say that because some of these areas have certain factors that come along with them, Elias. Some of them are like in Oakland, Alameda, you have a sidewalk ordinance. All of Contra Costa over here, we have a sewer lateral. And these are some costs that could be coming out of pocket for you as a buyer that may hit you and could be possibly a deal breaker. But one good thing is I am an expert in negotiations. I believe over the last 2.5 years, I've been able to do almost, I think, over $200,000 in seller credits. And when the new market comes around in August, it's going to be key for you to have somebody that is able to negotiate concessions or some type of seller credits. I've used those to help people get their closing costs paid in full, or get those repairs like I told you about, the sidewalk or the sewer lateral taken care of, because those could be some of the things that make it really easier for you just to focus either just on having that down payment, not worry about the closing costs that go along with a purchase of a home. Lots of people do not know about this, and it could be something that is an unexpected cost that they're not paying attention to their lender if it wasn't explained correctly. So I pride myself in trying to come back and do my homework, whatever area that we choose to go in. And I would like to say that I'm also predominantly all in Solano County, where I currently live. Bought a family trust out here for my family because I thought it was a good area. I knew about the pending Paradise City that's going to be possibly built over here, which isn't probably a mile away. So talking about instant equity to the trust. So I'm just throwing a bunch of this stuff out there to let you know that I have the experience, even though you probably have come through me on an online platform because I partner heavy with Zillow and Realtor.com. It's just the fact that I'm all over the place. I partner heavy. So even if I can't be physically in front of you, I don't care what time of the day it is. It could be 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. I come with a vast experience from a huge team. I have over 200 brothers and sisters. That means we have over 400 pairs, arms and legs working for us simultaneously. So at the end of the day, I serve all these markets, and I serve markets that we can possibly look into with all those places. Because again, I have my brothers and sisters that have the information, have some of those listings. And we're number one for a reason. It's because we take things seriously and we move fast. And that's why we call it Team Fast. So I'm pretty sure whichever area you decide to go and look at, I will be able to take care of you. And I just want to say thank you again for your time. I would like to schedule some time. Maybe we can go over buyer's consultation just to kind of get our feet wet so you know what to expect. Does that sound okay with you, Elias?
Yeah, we'll pause there. And I love that you went for the close for the buyer's consultation. But when you think about confidence and expertise, I mean, we'll kind of elaborate that on that in a second. But let's just go to Jessica. What were some things that you heard Otis say, as well as Kelly? But what were some things that you heard them say that really, really stood out for you? Jessica Sugo Hernandez.
Yeah, I really liked how he started talking about the team and all the leverage that he has with all the agents that we have on our team. So that's something that stood out.
Yeah, was he or Kelly, were either one of them meek in the way that they said the words, or did they speak it confidently from their chest? And I think that, when we think about the contrast, and obviously Otis has been at this quite a bit longer, but Otis spoke it from his chest. But I remember a time where Otis didn't speak like this. I remember it, right? Otis has always been a good communicator, but he didn't speak about the Bay Area real estate market in an expert manner. And he's had enough closings now to where he can convey information to where it sounds like he understands not only one market, but the Bay Area. And the Bay Area has microclimates within it. And I think that he articulated that really well. Here in the chat down below, Christina says, confidence in making me feel as a buyer that he'll always make someone be available to help me if he directly isn't available. You guys, leverage is key in our game. So really great job. Let's go over to Samantha Benz. Samantha Benz, I think this will be her first time doing this. So let's go, Samantha. Practice here so you don't have to practice on a consumer. Let's go.
That was awesome, Otis. Thank you. Something that I'm in the San Mateo County area, so the peninsula, so Burlingame, San Carlos, Millbrae, those kinds of areas. And we know that historically the Bay Area's had low inventory, but the funny thing is every week my inventory sheet gets longer and longer on broker tour. So when I'm touring these homes, so my clients don't have to, I'm seeing more and more homes come on the market in San Mateo and San Carlos specifically. And those areas are really hot because they have safe neighborhoods, they have great schools, and the serious buyers are coming off the sidelines and they're getting ready, and they've stayed ready this whole time. And a lot of that is just coming from staying prepared with a lender and a trusted realtor. But most importantly, I think step one is the lender who's going to educate you on options and financing and things like that, so you can get your mindset right, even if you're afraid of the financial piece. And because I was a teacher, I always emphasize the education piece. So not going into this blind, but exhausting your resources and the people you trust in your circle to educate you, because homeownership is possible, even in a place that we love, like the Bay Area, that makes you think it's not possible or realistic for you.
Wow, really, really like great delivery of the information. I told you in person that your past as a teacher are going to serve you very, very well in real estate, because that's what a consumer wants. Someone that's going to advocate for them and then be a leader and be a teacher throughout this entire process. And you guys, I would check your inventory. And what I would do is I would run some comps and I would look at the year over year, but also look over the past 3 months. You'll see that there's an uptick in a lot of different markets right now. Now, our sales year over year might be down, but our inventory amount of houses that are actually on the market, in some markets, it's actually up. And what you're finding is that the list to sales price is higher this year, the sales price, than it is than it was last year. So you have to look at the charts and be like, wow, Concord, Albany, El Cerrito, wherever you are, what you'll find is that year over year sales price versus list price is actually higher, even though the amount of sales is down and inventory is up. So there's some great opportunities for conversations with consumers. Samantha, I really, really love what you shared. Let's go over to Rick. Rick, what were some things that you heard Samantha say that really stood out to you? What resonated for you?
Basically, like you said, Elias, just kind of her confidence, the way that she was able to articulate and just have some familiarity on the market. She spoke to the inventory and just kind of the message that I got was almost as if she's, she's the market expert, and I'm the one to rely on. So I guess in a nutshell, that's what it was.
And Samantha, and I love that, Rick, and thank you for your contribution. Samantha, how long have you been in real estate?
I've had my license for a year, but this literally feels like week one sometimes.
Okay. So week one, and here you are, you've never met Rick before, right? You've never met Rick? No. So Rick just said that he felt like you were an expert. You have to think about, how do I sound to a consumer, right? Because a consumer, if you sound the way that you just sounded right now, a consumer's never going to ask you, oh, how many sales have you done? Like when they start to doubt you, it's because they don't feel like you have the information that they need that's going to serve them. They start to doubt you, right? But in that scenario, I didn't feel you left room for any type of doubt. None at all. So really, really well done, and really embrace that. So you may be new at real estate, but you're not new to teaching. That cadence, that rhythm, that flow, and how you deliver information is in direct correlation with what you're trained to do. So really great job, Samantha, and I appreciate the contribution, Rick. Let's go Jessica Segura Hernandez, and then Janice, you will be on deck, and feel free, you guys, to carry on this conversation because I think we're making some really good headway. So let's go, Jessica.
Yeah, so this is something that Daniela actually posted on Instagram that I will start implementing. So she mentioned that Monica always goes on the MLS and checks the market monitor to see how many houses have sold, how many are new to the market, how many have expired, pending. So that's something that I'm going to start implementing. That way, when I have my conversations, I know how many homes sold in Richmond or in Contra Costa County, wherever I'm serving my client. Just wanted to share that and put that out there.
Totally. You guys, if you know tomorrow that you have a buyer's consultation with me, you understand where I live, where I'm looking at buying, and you're so excited for the buyer's consultation. Well, I've already given you enough information to at least do some prep work. Obviously, you're going to go through the buyer's consultation, explain the process, why you, and how your agency relationship works and how we actually work together. That's part of the flow. Well, on top of that, imagine if you say, listen, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Astuto, I put together some information for you about the market. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's happened over the last 60 days so you'll understand how we're going to develop our strategy when it's time for you to write offers. In River Islands, there's been X amount of homes that have sold in the last 60 days. And out of those X amount of homes, 18 of those homes were sold over or at asking price. The average days on this market means A, B, and C. To be able to share that with a consumer, now they're like, wow, Jessica, thank you. Sounds like you have a really good pulse on this market. I'm so glad to be working with such a professional like you guys. It's separation season. And if you're not studying this market, not only studying it, articulating and practicing how to talk about the market, we're going to miss opportunities here. We're going to miss opportunities. So Jessica, love that contribution. Let's go, Janice. Janice, if the audio is not good, we'll cut your camera, but let's give it a whirl.
Okay, I'm gonna pull over. Can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, so the area that I really have an affinity for, all the houses that go up for sale are selling for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 over asking, and they're not staying on most.
Hold on a quick second. So for the houses that are selling 100, 200, 300,000, if you guys had to take a quick guess, knowing the market, knowing where we're at, without knowing where she's selling, what market do you think that she's representing?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Berkeley. Concord, Walnut Creek.
$300 in Concord, Walnut Creek. Okay.
Santa Clara County.
San Jose, Santa Clara. I love this. Okay.
Oakland.
I think I'm going to vote for Berkeley.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like the Berkeley Albany area.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
94706, 94707. All
All
of
right,
those, I
let's-
just did flyers, and one house sold $355,000 over asking, and it wasn't that big. It was small, like less than 2,000 square feet. So
But we put in an
So-
offer for 250 over asking, and we weren't even the top 4.
the market is crazy. So everything is pretty much selling over asking, minimum, not minimum, but like most things are selling at least $100,000 over asking. And within the past few months, very few of the houses sat on the market longer than 30 days. It's everybody wants to be in that area for the schools, for the communities. So it's a really good time to get in if you're trying to get in, because house prices are only going up. So if you're waiting on interest, you'll save on interest maybe down the road. It's a gamble, but you're going to pay anyway because the prices are constantly going up. And then if you're looking to move, go somewhere cheaper, it's the best time to sell because you're going to get $200, $300, $400 or $400,000 over asking. So it's just a really good time to be investing in or looking outward from that area.
You know what? I would love if somebody can, while we're on the call, give me an average annual appreciation of homes in Berkeley year over year since 2020, because the same sentiment has existed since pandemic that houses were selling for $100,000 to $300,000, $400,000 sometimes over asking price in Berkeley. And here's the challenge for people. Say I'm a person that says I want to wait till interest rates go down a point. Right? I want to wait for interest rates to go down for a point in Berkeley. Well, if I'm waiting and this house that based on perceived value is going to close for $300,000 over asking, am I saving money by waiting or am I hurting myself? Because when that when that house closes and that comp plays catch up, now you have a new benchmark for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in that area of Poets Corner or wherever it is in Albany, Berkeley, or El Cerrito, wherever it is. And so what's happening is that when people say they want to wait in hot markets like that, now it is sometimes absolutely unattainable. It's unattainable because what you're up against in markets, particularly like Berkeley and Albany, you're up against perceived value and actual value. If an appraiser came out and said, okay, this home is actually worth, 1.5, but a family comes in and says, you know what, no matter what, we want to live here. We love this area. No matter what, we're removing contingencies and we're going to purchase this house at 1.8. So they're $300,000 over asking price. What won in that scenario? What won was perceived value because my family truly wants to live in this area. So I don't give a shit about contingencies and I don't give a shit about what the other house is sold for. I'm willing to go all in. Now, when I go all in and that house closes, you have a new benchmark for a comp in that area. So the people that were waiting for an interest rate to come down a point are now up against a $300,000 delta of price going up because they chose to wait. And so, God, I absolutely love this conversation. Janice, you took yours. Go ahead. You had your hand up again. Go ahead. You're muted. All the facial expressions. I'm
I was having trouble pushing the buttons, like my finger didn't work. No, I was just gonna say, because like when you look at the homes that are available, a lot of the ones that are in that area, if it wasn't that particular area, say the houses were in Stockton or something, those houses would be like $500,000. They would be so much cheaper. But it's the fact that it's those areas that those houses are being put on the market for $975 and going for getting sold for 1.5. It's wild because the houses are so small. It's insane. I mean, some of the houses in Berkeley can be pretty big, but those ones are in the 2s. It's wild.
Yeah, and you're not paying for house size in Berkeley. You're paying for lifestyle, right? You're paying for history. You're paying for the turn of the century craftsmen with beautiful entryways. Like that's what you're paying for. You're paying to be in Berkeley. Sorry, I think someone texted me that. Are you guys having any problems with the screen? Okay, it was just one person. Okay, cool. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff, Janice. Let's hear from somebody, contribution on what she just said, and then I'm going to go to Ilona really quick, and then I'm going to come back over to you, Nicole. Darnell, what was something that you heard Janice say that kind of resonated for you, but something that you heard that stood out for you? Darnell, let's hear from you. I'm sure you're rocking your baby girl. Let's go.
Yeah, my bad. I missed a fraction of what Janice was saying. I was getting bullied over here. So
it's okay. It's okay. We'll come back to you. Do your thing, my man.
Okay.
We appreciate you. We love it. Let's go, Shally. Shally, what was something that you heard Janice say that kind of stood out for you and resonated with you?
I agree with Janice. Yes, the Berkeley and Albany is like for the school district, the culture, the food, everything is there. So yes, a lot of people are moving from San Francisco there, and that's the easy access for them to if they're still working in the city. So I do a lot of open house for other agents in the Berkeley, and you can see entirely different the open house in Berkeley versus the Oakland Hills.
Totally.
So I agree with Denise. Those two are the school district, the parents' participation, everything is there. It's just that unique places to live.
Totally. And do you think the people that are going on non-contingent all in $200,000, $300,000 over asking, do you think those are the consumers that are worried about interest rates?
No, they are not. They are not even asking about the interest rate.
Like
These
our
are
lender
the
partners are on
people
the
who
call
are,
today.
yeah, it's more focusing on the interest rate. I think as before somebody was talking, it's all about your confidence, how you're delivering the message, how you're talking to your clients, and you're educating them. That's more important than you are the person who gonna actually the pilot to show them where to go and everything. So that's
Totally.
a lot. Interest
Yeah.
rate is not the thing anymore. And that's true.
Yeah, and it all depends. Somebody that is maybe a first-time home buyer in a lower demographic area, then yeah, they probably have more concerns about the interest rate. So you have to be able to tailor the conversation based on the consumer and based on geography and where they're actually looking. So really good stuff. I'm going to go to Ilona. Boop, 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 boop. Breaking news just in. She put something in the chat down below. Do you want to talk about that really quick? I didn't have a chance to take a look at it, but let's go to you really quick.
That's okay. I was having a biweekly meeting with our lender, and yesterday we were discussing, what is now being pushed through. So he informed us that with FHA, they changed the cap. So it's no longer that 6% cap situation where the seller can offer concessions up to 6%. So that is actually a big win for us in regards to this NAR situation, because now we can actually negotiate. But when we were talking about this, VA is kind of still on the hook in regards to, we don't know how that's going to go. We don't know how that's going to go. And my lender mentioned there's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits if they don't figure it out, because there's, FHA, at least for now, like there's no rolling in, your buyer's agent commission into your loan. So you're just gonna, if you can't negotiate it through the seller, you have to have that money to pay your buyer's agent if you're gonna sign this piece of paper, basically. And so it was just funny that we had this conversation that there's probably going to be these lawsuits that are gonna start coming in from the buyer side representation, right? Because now these buyers are having or coming into these issues, especially VA right now. And so funny enough, this morning, breaking news, first filed lawsuit from the buyer side in regards to challenging this upcoming change. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to change a lot of things, and I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes up or whatever, but it's important to understand what's happening as things are being laid out. And I think it's interesting to just stay informed with what's happening in the news in our market, because things are going to be shifting all kinds of ways.
Yeah, a really good conversation. I'd love to hear from Ashley and Jeff on this. Now, two things I heard in the conversation. One was about IPC, right? And depending on the loan type, it could be, cover closing costs, 3, 6, and I think the max is 9%. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was the first part of the conversation. Second part of the conversation was VA loans. I don't know if you guys have any updated information. VA's been really quiet throughout this whole thing. I'm sure there's things going on behind the scenes, but I would love to hear from Ashley, then Jeff, and then we'll come right back over to Nicole. Ashley, you want to share your thoughts and insight on this? I'll be right back.
Hi, good morning. As far as the VA loans, there's some writing in there that basically says that the buyer cannot be responsible for paying their commission piece. So that's the problem. And the VA, my sister is a real estate agent in Washington, and she's a VA real estate agent, 100%. And she says that the VA has had this on their radar for over a year now, since the lawsuit was first filed, and they are planning, if something doesn't change in their regulations, there's going to be lawsuits, because it literally is it's going to prevent the VA buyers from buying at all, because they literally aren't allowed to be paying for commissions as it's written now. So something's got to change. By the time this goes into effect, something's going to change. And then Jeff, did you want to comment on the caps for the seller concessions?
Yeah, honestly, I'll have to do a little bit of research. I have not seen any official announcement from FHA, and I can't imagine they changed the interested party cap of 6%. or got rid of it. Like we talked about a few weeks ago, Fannie and Freddie are allowing sell the buyer's agent's commission to be paid outside of that 6% interested party, contribution, so that it doesn't affect that amount. And maybe FHA has followed suit at this point. Actually, I haven't seen any kind of announcement yet, but I'm not saying that didn't happen. FHA could have followed suit on it. But again, I can't imagine that they've gotten rid of the 6% cap. They just are probably followed suit and aren't including any buyer's agent commission in that 6% cap. So
I think that's what I think that's what Ilona meant. And just so you guys know, am I back?
Your audio's choppy. Yeah.
How about now? Am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. So sorry about that, you guys. The wind is like crazy today. So interrupt me at any time it gets choppy. So Jeff, on a conventional loan right now, what is the total amount of closing costs that a consumer can receive as a credit back? What is that number? Is it 6%?
On a conventional loan, it's 3%.
3%. Okay. So if a consumer, meaning, okay. So if on a conventional, it's 3%. So right now it's stated normally that your closing costs cannot exceed that 3%, correct?
The seller concessions from the seller or interested parties cannot exceed 3%. And those can't be applied towards down payment. They can only be applied.
Correct. But now if the seller wants to offer in an additional 2% to cover closing or to cover compensation, they can, correct?
Correct. On conventional.
Okay.
And I guess on from what Ilona was saying, I guess at this point, although I have to do a little bit more research on FHA as well.
Okay. Ilona, any more thoughts or contributions on the subject?
No, I'm just excited to see how it all plays out, honestly. And yeah, thanks for the clarification. So the 6% for concessions and closing costs stay, and the commission is just now not, or the concession for commission is just not included. I did have another question. Does the 2-1 buy down fall under that limit to closing cost credits for the seller to the buyer?
Yes, it does. And I just dropped something in the chat. So it's not just a 3%, even though that is the most common max. But if you look, this Instagram post that I just shared, it depends on your down payment. So if you put up to 10% down, you can ask for 3% on a conventional loan. If you put 10% to 25% down, you can actually ask for 6% on a conventional loan, and it doesn't have to appraise. If you put more than 25% down, you can go all the way to 9%. Now, what they're saying right now is that those seller, the paying of the commission doesn't count within this, but the 2-1 buy down does. And then the FHA, it doesn't matter about the down payment. It's a straight 6%, and VA as of right now, it's 4%. Doesn't matter. USDA is 2%. So you guys can save that and have it handy, just so that you don't leave money on the table. A lot of people just think the max is 3%, but you can actually go higher depending on the down payment.
Oh, beautiful. Love it. Appreciate that. Thanks for the contribution, Ilona. Thanks for the resources you guys in the chat. Let's go back up to Nicole Penland. Nicole Penland, I think your hand was up for market conditions conversation. So let's go. All right, cool. We'll go once, we'll go twice, and then we're going to move on. Rick, you had your hand up, big dog. Let's go over to you.
Were you calling me?
Hey, so.
Yeah, Nicole, we'll come back to you. I'm going to go to Rick. I was calling on you, but I'll come back to you. Let's go, Rick.
All right, cool. So I guess just segueing back to the 2-1 buy down talk, how common has that been, and has anyone had any experience leveraging that out here in the Bay Area?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, obviously our lender partners have firsthand experience on this, but I don't know. I guess, a way to clarify this question is, I think back in the last 6 months, how many closings were using 2-1 buy downs? I think that's a good question, but also, who on this team has written an offer with a 2-1 buy down? So I got a couple hands up. So Otis had a hand up, Mark had a hand up. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on this to directly answer Rick's question. Let's go, Otis. Did you have your hand up or no?
Yeah, I did. I kind of was just getting filled in because I was on phone with Jacob on our deal, but I have done with one. You got to set the precedents, and I mean, obviously, you want to make sure that they can even do it. You don't want to put them in a position where you're setting them up for failure. I typically like to stay away from them because, as you know, like I mentioned when I talked earlier, is I like to get those credits away, so where I feel way more comfortable, Elias, is putting you in a 30-year good saving point instead of giving you just 1 year to save. So my ideal goal would to try to get some type of sellers or credits from them whole, so we can obviously get your rate down. But if we were to go with this, it's just letting you know like the differences. So maybe we should talk with the lender, or maybe get your financial advisor incorporated with this too, so we know how to be able to keep the money at a stagnant rate where we're not saving some of our savings and putting it towards payments moving forward in that second year when we see a little bigger of a jump than what we're used to. But if we're comfortable doing that, then obviously we can save that money in that first year, so when we move into second year, we have a comfortable portion from that to move forward with on top of our savings.
So I guess what I'm hearing you say right now, Otis, is that having the conversation of a permanent buy down versus a temporary buy down. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct, because I think you would feel comfortable knowing too, like this is where we're going to be on for a longer scale compared to just on a short term. Because I mean, obviously, I don't know specifically, how long you plan on staying here. If it's more than 5 to 10 years, I'd say we're more than golden. But if we're in a shorter time period than that, then we want to see the offset of that 2 to 3 years that we're going to be there, if it makes sense for you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go, Ashley, and then Mark, you'll be on deck, and then Rick, hopefully we get all of your, questions answered. Let's go, Ashley, and then Mark, you.
I just wanted to comment quickly on the pros and cons between a 2-1 buy down and a permanent buy down. So a 2-1 buy down, most of the time, it's usually double. For the first year savings, it's usually double the permanent buy down. The money that you spend so let's say it's like $700 better, and the permanent buy down is going to be $300 better, but forever. Okay. The 2-1 buy down, let's say you spend $20,000 to get the 2-1 buy down, or the same $20,000 to get the permanent buy down. The permanent buy down goes to the bank. It's gone. That money is gone. The 2-1 buy down goes to an escrow account. It's yours if you were to refinance. So let's say that's $20,000 you spent to first year get a 6% interest rate, second year get a 7% interest rate. But next year you refinance to that 7% interest rate before you ever get to that third year. Whatever's left in that escrow account goes back to your loan, back to you. If you refinance for the permanent buy down, that $20,000 is gone. It went to the bank. So what you want to do is you want to calculate the break-even point, which is what we'll do. You guys don't have to do it. We'll do it. We'll take that $20,000 and we'll say, okay, how much are you saving? Let's say we're saving $300 a month. What's your break-even point? Let's say it's 5 years. Do you think interest rates are going to drop in the next 5 years? If you do, then maybe we should do the 2-1 buy down so you get some of that money back. If you don't, or even if they do, you're not the type of person that doesn't want to deal with that. You just want to know what your payment is, and you don't want to risk it going up. And you don't care if that money's going to the bank. You just don't want to risk it going up, and you don't want to deal with refinancing. Great. Let's do the permanent buy down. And you just kind of break down the pros and cons. If they think the interest rates are going to drop in the next couple years and they will want to refinance, it might be better to put it in that escrow account so that they get it back and it goes towards their own loan. But it really depends on the type of person that you're dealing with. Some people don't. $300 jump a year is a lot. And so you want to make sure they're comfortable with that worst case scenario before committing to the 2-1 buy down.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Mark, let's go to you. And then Rick, I'll come right back to you, make sure that your thoughts and question was addressed. Let's go, Mark.
Hey, so the market update, there was actually some pretty cool news that just came out relating to, this kind of ties in with the 2-1 buy down. So San Francisco Fed Reserve basically said that all the stimulus money that was given away during the pandemic was actually all spent in the end of March of this year. But consumer spending still went up, increased by 0.8%. So a lot of this, interest rates and so on, a lot of it has to do with inflation, right? And we don't have a crystal ball in our hand saying, oh, the rates are going to drop in June or whatever. But we do know that the rates will eventually drop. Not a lot, but it'll drop based on the fact that the Feds are looking at the inflation rate. And when the inflation rates are being controlled by consumer spending, and you know that the money that was given for free, the reason why we got into this inflation to begin with was everybody was making so much money from free money, basically, and then the rates drop so much because the government subsidized the mortgage bonds to a point where that money's getting spent. And when that money's gone, which San Francisco Fed just announced that all the stimulus checks in the Bay Area is pretty much gone. Now people's savings are starting to get depleted. Therefore, consumer spending will end up dropping. And then later on, the rates will now start reflecting that for mortgage buying. So I literally just had this conversation with my client yesterday on 2-1 buy down. Him and I brought it up, and he was like, should I do a 2-1 buy down or should I just buy down my rate? Because I know I want to refinance with you at least before the end of the year. Right. I'm like, well, I mean, if the rates do drop and you want to refinance by the end of the year, it does not make sense for you to buy down the rate. Right. It doesn't make sense for you to just put the money in, just buy down the rate. But it does make sense if the sellers are giving you credit, we're going to use that credit towards a 2-1 buy down. Well, at least that gives you that 1-year cushion with the interest rate being 2% less. But other than that, what Ashley just literally said was perfect. It's basically just throwing that money away. So Otis, when you were mentioning that, it really depends on the scenario. Most people, they do love that, the safety, what do you call it? The peace of mind knowing that the rates aren't going to change, right? But if you look at the average amount of people that are actually living in their homes, the average is between 4 to 5 years that they're actually living at their house. And it doesn't, if they're going to spend that much, you look at the cost that they spend versus when are they going to recoup those savings back or that money back, and they're only going to stay for 4 to 5 years. It doesn't make sense. So just throw it out there. Now, people who are looking for a 15-year fix
guys.
already. Hello?
Yeah, you're still here.
Hey.
We gotta wrap up though, Mark.
All right, bye.
All right, cool. You guys, really, really good information today shared, contributed by our lender partners. But you guys are the one that really, really led this. Just want to say, Rick, are we good? You have a general understanding or address your question?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why I ask is because I'm coming from the San Diego market back to the Bay Area, and I have the last 4 buyers that I've helped with escrow. I actually have 2 right now that I've utilized a 2-1 buy down. So I just wanted to see how common that strategy is out here in compared to San Diego. And it was good hearing everybody's insight on it.
And I think that you'll see that San Diego, Los Angeles, there's some similarities to our markets, So really good stuff. Back to my point as we close out, like I said, you guys, we'll have access to the same resources, same tools, same publications, same articles, same data. Now, it's one thing understanding it and actually reading it and knowing it, but how are we practicing? And you guys, like I said, do it nervous, do it scared, but do it here, right? Do it here. Like get some of those nerves out of the way. Not saying it's going to rid yourself of all of the nerves that you have when you're doing a presentation, particularly with somebody that is really, really heavy on the way that, or excuse me, heavy need for data, right? You're going to encounter those clients, but the more that you come to these sessions and the more that you just throw yourself out there, there's people that had never spoke on group coaching, particularly about this subject, that rose their hand today. And so, like I said, you guys come here to do the work, right? When we're in coaching, we should be running our routes. We should be throwing the ball. We should be tackling each other. Like this is practice so you guys are better for game day. And so I appreciate you guys' contributions at a very, very high level. Thank you to our guests that were here. Thank you to everybody that will see this in the future. And as always, you guys, keep it moving toward your dreams, goals, and vision. This business is about momentum. Even if the momentum is a little slow, as long as your train is moving down the tracks, that's all that matters. So have a wonderful day. Keep it moving. Peace.